formulas. I'm trying to share my screen. Sharing my screen. So it should come up in an instant now. Great, I think it's up now. Let me put this here. Okay, so the financial modelers most used Excel formulas. What are the formulas that, as a financial modeler, you will end up using? And the funny thing is, they are not usually very hard formulas. So it's most people, when they hear the word financial modeling, they start thinking of things that are a bit more or that are a lot more complex than the normal things they do in Excel. And interestingly, it turns out that when you begin to know how to do financial modeling and you do financial modeling a lot, you find out that you don't use those, you won't be using most of those formulas that you can classify as advanced formulas, things like VLOOKUP, index and match, and then some of all those things that when you look at formulas and you say they are complex, you know, most of the times you won't find those types of formula in the typical corporate finance model. Project finance model might be something of a different ballgame. So let's dig into it. So these are the list of formulas that, from my own experience, which mirrors many people's experience, because the truth is, the truth is, financial modeling is a bit very structured. So there is it's either you know it or you don't know it. Almost all of us use the same pattern. It's just the look and feel that differs. But in terms of what is inside and how it behaves, which is controlled by the formulas, it's pretty standard. Okay, so you can take this as a generalization to some extent. I was already typing them out, but somehow I wanted to write them out as I am teaching them rather than to have written them out before. So here's my list. There is sum. So you'll be like, what's new to sum? Is it not the normal sum we know? Yes, thumbs up. It's the normal sum we know. And then I will try to show you something not so common about it. The sum if. Sum if is what I call the accountants. Now, FP&A guys, sum if is one of the formulas you will use a lot. You know, you want to do trial balance, you want to pull out things from the trial balance. Sum if you want to pull out your account statement, the income statement and some other standard financial reports from your transactions. Sum if can help you do many of the things you will need to do in those kind of tasks. So sum if, there's also count if, but we seldom use count if. So I'm going to restrict what we are doing to what is relevant to financial modeling. There is mean, there is max, there is choose. By the way, mean and max are they are for what I call almost like an if formula. For certain limits, upper limit, lower limit, most people who don't know mean and max, they go and use if. That's what comes to them. Oh, if the fee must not be above 200 naira. So what do? Okay, if the fee is 2% and we say the amount times 2%, if it is less than 200 naira, then 2%. If it is greater than 200 naira, then make sure you cap it as 2% at 200 naira. So when you have all those upper limits, you want to limit something, or lower limits, tax must not be below 0. You know, many people think about if, but when it comes to financial modeling, max and mean are much more natural. You will find them better to use, and even outside of financial modeling anyway. So choose Index, this is really serious. The other people are on strike, maybe workers day. So let me just see if I can do a tiny reminder to some other people. Let me see. So, oh, okay. Let me just quickly. Thanks to the person who has just joined also too. You haven't missed much. So we are talking about the formulas that are commonly used in financial modeling. So as a financial modeler, the Excel formulas you would find yourself using a lot. So I'm listing them out. We might not be able to finish them all today, but we better get started. Offsets, year, month, day, e-dates. I'm getting into problem now, space. Okay, I know what to do. I'm going to put year. They are very similar. So year, month, and day, I will let them collapse into one bullet point. Okay, so that way I have space for the others. E-date, EO month. So not to make this very boring for, since this is like a one-on-one class now, which I always enjoy anyway. So for me, crowd is not much of a big deal. I want to ask you, which ones do you want me to focus on for you? We will do whatever we do not reach. We do those ones next week or when I'm able to get more crowd. So, but let us not make it boring for you where I start teaching you what you already are good at. So, do you want to unmute and tell me the ones I should focus on for you? You know, for you, if you have to pick, which ones do you want me to demonstrate? You can type, you can unmute and also pick them out. Anyway. Oh yeah. Madam Igoeyi, Mr. Femi. If you don't say anything, then I'll go at it the sequence that I have it here.
Go ahead, sir. Everything is okay.
Okay. Thank you. So let's start with some. Like I said, many people think, is there something special to some for it to be on that list? Well, it's the normal sum, you know, but I'm going to show you something more about it. So let's talk about, I have some records. So I have, in this session anyway, I'm not going to try and force us to learn with a financial model. Let us learn those things in a very simple example and know it as they work naturally. Then we can be connecting the dots in another session to how you use them. So say I have some products. So I have, let me look around me around here. So I have my phone. I have my laptop. I have a fan that is blowing me. I have a monitor. So this is good enough. Then what's the unit price? What's the quantity? Say maybe this is an electronics store. So what's the quantity? And when you have things like this, pretty much everybody know what next we are talking about. Okay, what's the total sales, right? But let me just put in some figures in here. So I have 3 laptops, 5 fans, 4 monitors, and this is at the price of a, well, dollar has pushed everything up. So say this is 100K each. This is a 250K laptop, and fan should not be expensive. 25K, monitor, say 50K. So now We know that sum, I'm talking about sum, SUM. Sum is simply me coming here and saying equal to sum, right? And I'm selecting all of these figures and I'm saying, yes, sum them up for me. Good. The question I have for us is, what if I want to calculate the total sales? Is there a way I could have used sum to calculate the total sales? That is what not so many people see sum as being able to do. They're like, no, you probably need to do one by one, the price and the quantity. Do one by one. Let me make it comma style. And let me take out all the decimal parts. Do one by one, and then sum. That's when they will not expect you to write the sum. This is what pretty much everybody thinks of. But then, let me show you, I could have done it in sum. I could have just said sum of price times quantity, right? If this was a physical class, I used to ask people, what do you think will come out? But then I have a lot of formulas to cover. So let me not waste our time with those ones help in a very long, large class. See, I'm getting the very same answer. So obviously, if you know that some can do this, then you will not need to do all of this, right? You will not need to do all of that. You can just write your sum, say this times that, and you can see the figures are matching, right? So that's the only thing I can say can be new to some of us about sum. Sum has that capability. Okay. And well, there's something else I'm supposed to say, but I won't say it. So I'm going to go to the next formula. So the next formula in my list is sum if. So for this sum if, I have instead of me spending time typing and wasting our time, I will go pick up a practice file that has some data that I'm going to use to do the demonstration. So let me open, and I'm going to go to my file that I have for this practice file. So I have a file called Power Excel Functions. Let me say this is arranged in A to Z. So I want to explain sum if. Sum if is one of those formulas that, as a financial modeler, as an FP&A, there's a reason I keep saying FP&A. As an accountant, there are two kinds of tasks that you will do, or someone in the finance department. Many times there are two categories of tasks you are doing. There's the bookkeeping, where you're just ensuring things are posted into the right accounts at the right time and all of that. For that one, you're not going to, maybe you'll be needing VLOOKUP, max, or that's not what I mean when I say FP&A. So this is rather than me just saying as an accountant, because an accountant can do a mixture of those tasks, or typically end up doing a mixture. But the one where sum if is a formula that you will have to be very, very good at and use to, not just be good at and use it, because if you're not using it, obviously you are probably using something else that is taking you longer time. It's sum if. FP&A is when you are doing your analysis of your financial account. Could be sales analysis, could be, FP&A stands for financial planning and analysis. So let's start with what we want to learn here. I have here different transactions. So think about it. Say these are different types of transactions. Could be personnel expenses, training expenses, depreciation, sales, marketing expense, any kind of expense. think someone has left a message in the chat box. Why that is? Oh, I cut off sometimes. Not noticing that. Okay, anytime you notice it, just let me know so that I will quickly know what is different. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it might be my screen sharing. But right now you are seeing, I hope. So, Mr. Femi, hope you are seeing my screen. Right now, all is good. Okay. I'm taking that as a yes, but I'm watching to hear your reply. But anytime you don't hear me or see me, please call my attention. This is supposed to be a premium class. You should be happy. So, what I was saying, I'm seeing it's the audio. Oh, okay, it's the audio. I think I know what I can do to the audio. So I'm going to go and check my audio and see that I'm on the right device. Okay. Yeah, I've made some adjustments, so you should be hearing me loud and clear from now on. Thanks for at least mentioning it so I can take that into the... Okay, so back to what I'm saying. I have transactions that are for different entities. I want to find out the total transaction that happened for each one. I don't have to go manually. I use SUMIF. So SUMIF is that formula that allows me to be able to extract my total sales from all transactions, to be able to extract total expenses to a particular category of expense. Could be to training, could be to security, could be to salaries, you know, any of all of those things. If I have them out already and I want to extract all the transactions that are for a particular entity, ladies and gentlemen, meet SUMIF. SUMIF is your guy. So let us learn how SUMIF works. So I'm going to say equal to SUMIF, and a lot of times when I'm explaining a formula, I like to use this FX here. It brings out this interactive dialog box. It makes it easier for you to follow along my explanation. It's not a recommendation to use when you are writing it, but it's a recommendation for trainers to use when they are explaining the formula. So that's why I'm using it. So don't think if you're not using it, maybe there's something special about it that you need to start using it for. It is showing me that SUMIF expects three things: 1, 2, 3. Now think about it. If I want to sum if it is depreciation transactions or sales transactions, or like as I have in my demo data, it is a transaction that is meant for extravaganza, right? Am I not going to first go to where all the records are? That's the range, where all the records are. So it's more like, where are all the records? Where is the range of records? Okay, then question number 2, the criteria. Which one specifically am I interested in? I am at this moment interested in barbecued chicken. Okay, and so the next natural question is, okay, I have found all the records that are for what you are interested in. Now, where should I go and sum up the money or the values you are interested in? So for me, for this case, I am interested in summing up the sales amount, the total sales, the total value of transactions that were for that entity. So I go to sum range and I pick the range, the field that has the things I need to sum up. Okay, so that's the explanation for SUMIF. I'm going to do okay, but more importantly, remember what I'm saying. This is a formula that the moment you start creating financial models for different companies, yours, friends, somebody paying you to do it, somebody not paying you, and somebody squeezing your neck, you know, holding you at a gunpoint and at ransom and saying you must do this. By the time you do across all those mix of scenarios, you find out that you will start using SUMIF at some point, and steadily you will notice you are using it in some very consistent kind of situations when those situations happen across your financial model. So take a good look at it once again. Let me just explain before I click on enter. Range, where all of the records are, which in this case where all of the product or category, or the thing that I'm going to now say, okay, I'm interested only in these categories, which is going to be in question number 3, criteria. And then question number last is where it should go and gather the figures to add up. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK, and instantly you're going to see the outcome. And I'm not a doubting Thomas. I'm not going to go and get a calculator and start trying to audit. Auditors, they can knock themselves out by doing that. But if you use Excel pretty intensely, most times you will just want to verify that the formula is correct and the values are in the right place, and that's enough to trust. So this is SUMIF. I hope we've gotten SUMIF. So I'm going to go back to our list of formulas and see what is next. So what is next is mean. Now mean and max kind of go together, so I'm going to cover these two with the same scenario. Okay, so now let's come over here and say there's a bonus. There's a bonus that the branch, so this particular branch, let's say this is I don't know, this is Lagos branch sales. So this branch, they are entitled to a bonus. I don't know how they were going to share it. Maybe they will share it equally or whatsoever, but I've seen this happen for some companies where a branch, not a person, a branch get some bonus, and they will have a sharing a way of sharing to all the staff that worked that month anyway. So now this bonus, let's talk about what will make it interesting, right? Say this bonus is 2% of sales, but never more than never more than what will 2% be in this case? If I knock off 2 zeros, that's going to be 6,200. Okay, so let's say never more than 7,000 naira. Okay, could that be 7,000 naira or 72,000 naira? 7,000 naira. We can always correct it afterwards, right? So what does that mean? Is it not to say I'm calculating the bonus 2%? My 7,000 naira does not make sense. So never more than 10,000 naira, or never more than 14,000 naira. Let's do this so that we'll be able to catch more scenarios. More people will meet it. More people, a sizable number of records that will meet, that will be on both sides of the whole condition. So this is bonus, right? Bonus is simply 2% of whatever sales they have made, right? The branch will get it as bonus. Now, if you think about the logic we have just mentioned, that the bonus is capped. It's capped at 14,000 naira. So even if you do 200 million naira sales, the branch, the management will not pay you more than 14,000 naira. Okay, so but it's not that they will always pay you 14. If you did a really small sales like this guy, then he's going to get the 12,400. But when he has done a lot, like for these products where the sales are a lot, they're not going to pay them 15,050 or 16,956. They're going to be paid 14,000, and that's the meaning of the capping. So when the cap is an upper limit, then you use mean. It sounds funny. Why should I use mean? Why not max, since we are talking about upper? Well, first of all, before we go to why this, why that, get it into your head as a kind of what we memorize sometimes and say, okay, when you are doing this, just flip the logic. If what you are doing is a upper, don't use max, use mean. That's how I remember it, because to be sincere, I find that much more convenient than having to try to be remembering, okay, why again is this supposed to be mean? But by the time we start doing the formula, it will become much clearer. I'm just trying to let you know, as a rule of thumb, when you know that what you want to set is an upper limit, what naturally will come to your mind is max, let me max it at that. Yes, you are right, that is English, but when you are doing the mathematics, it is mean. It is minimum that will set that limit for us. So let us do it together anyway. So usually what I do is I write the formula as it should be without any limit. Then I go and put in the limit. So I will now put in that mean and say, okay, mean, right? Wrap the formula inside that mean and do comma. What is that upper limit? The upper limit is 14,000. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, so just take a look at this. Are you seeing my screen? We left the bonus calculation inside the mean. Then we did a comma, what the upper limit is going to be, which is 14,000, right? And that is how we will do this and drag it down. And I bet you it will work. You know, if I'm into gambling, you know, I'm very, very well okay with placing a bet around it. So you can see it's working, right? That's it. It will always work. So most people usually think of if, you know, but I bet you if is a much arduous way, a longer way of achieving this. And it's not going to look easy to read if you ask me as this. Imagine you want to do if. You'll be saying if this times 2%, right? If it is greater than 14,000, right? Then just put 14,000. We will not give you more than 14,000. But if it is less than 14,000, great. Then give the person his money. It's 2%, right? This is what you'll be doing if you are doing if. Okay. Hey, Temidayo, thanks for joining. I should do the one that involves the mean, right? Okay, I'll do it again. So if I was doing if, this is what I'll be typing, right? Check if the bonus calculation is greater than that our upper limit, right? Check if the bonus calculation, what you did times 2%, is it greater than 14,000, the upper limit, right? If yes, don't pay the person more than 14,000. We cannot pay them more than 14,000. That's the upper limit. If it is no, awesome, then pay him exactly what the mathematics came to, right? So this will have been what using if would achieve. And you'll notice that I'm getting the very same answers, right? The very same answers. So let me do the mean again. I know it can be an high turner, but hopefully now that I'm doing it a second time, you'll get it. Mean, right? But let me do it the way I normally do it so that it's not like because I'm a lazy somewhere. I'm not lazy, but I don't like stress. So if there's an easier way to something, I would rather do it easier. So this is my own easier way of doing. Every time I'm doing mean, I first calculate. What am I calculating? Your bonus. Let me even see if I can zoom out more. If that might help us. Okay, so this might be better. Okay, great. So I always first calculate the bonus. This times 2%. I do it, you know, there is nobody who is going to know that that's how I first did it. Now I typed what I need to calculate without any limit. Then I now go in there and say, okay, there's supposed to be an upper limit. You should not go above a figure. Upper is like max, but I need to flip it. So I flip it. Flipping it means instead of max, I'm using mean. Yes, mean is what I'm going to use. Mean, wrap the original calculation in there, then comma the limit. So is it clear now? So if you say it's not clear, I would refer you to the record because I need to move on. So I do enter, and as you've seen before, it works, right? It works as expected. Where it's not up to 14,000, it writes exactly what it is, and where it is more than 14,000, it keeps it pegged at 14,000. So I want to move on to the other one, which is max, right? So now we understand mean, right? What about max? So max is, let me change this condition as you are seeing it here. Max is okay. The minimum, like we are going to pay you at least 5,000 naira. Or the 2% bonus. So we're going to pay you the higher of the two. Are you getting it? So we are like saying there's a floor. We will never pay you below this amount. So it could be like, oh, you're supposed to get an allowance. The allowance is a percentage of your basic salary. But now, you know, not everybody earns the same amount. There might be someone who is earning really small, maybe an intern, and so he's earning so small that by the time you do that percentage, it's like an insult. It's like you are being really insensitive. So management could be like, okay, we're going to floor the amount that nobody will get less than 5,000 naira. You know, even if your salary is 5,000 naira, you will still get 5,000 naira as that particular allowance, you know. So there are many instances that this is what plays out. It's a lot much more sometimes tied to expenses than income. So you will find out that there are some expenses that you could say, okay, take for instance, tax. Tax is an expense, right? We all know that tax is like a percentage of your profit, right? So that means that tax is in fact, let me just say that it is in Nigeria, right? When you are planning, most times you just use that the corporate income tax rate of 30%. So I'm going to say your tax is equal to 30% of your profits before tax. Nobody argues it. But then you know what? Reality is there might be some years, some months, well, let's talk about a year because it's an annual tax, that you don't make profit. So when you make a negative profit, are you going to still go ahead and say your tax is minus 2,000 or minus 2 million naira? Government is not going to give you 2 million naira. You made loss. It's not their headache. Sorry, when you made loss, I said when you make profit. When you make loss, then it should not go to a minus. When you make profit, yes, it will stay in a plus, right? But when you make minus, so you want to do your formula in such a way that there is a floor. The floor is 0. If you make loss, you will not pay. Well, not that you will now go and tell government, oh yeah, see, my tax is minus 1 million. You guys have to pay me 1 million naira. The guys in the tax office, they will think this one is, they will at first be afraid that they will look at how you dress and say, okay, if he's wearing a suit and a tie, okay, he's not mad. Then what is the other thing we should check about him? You know? So anyway, back to how we're going to represent all of this. So let me just erase this so we don't get distracted by what is already here. But remember what I said, when it is in this case, a lower limit, I'm creating a floor. Let me even say like a floor, right? You think minimum, right? Floor, mean, flip it. Remember what I said, flip it. Do the opposite, max. Max is when you are creating a floor, a minimum, right? A limit, a lower limit, but you have to flip it. That's how I remember it. And if you don't remember, no problem. You will do both, and you will know the one that worked, and you delete the one that didn't work. So let's do it together anyway. The amount times the 2%, because this is how I normally do it. Then I'm going to say, so because you know we have all kinds of figures here, right? So let us use something that will make our work show. So let's say we're going to floor it at 14,000 14,000. So no matter what you do, you will never get less than a 14,000 naira bonus, right? So like for this person, is going to get 14,000, but we don't want to do it manually. We want to encapsulate this in a formula. So I'm going to put in the max that I've explained to us, that when you want to create a floor, you do a max. Okay, I do max, comma, the floor, not floor as in what you used to do cake. It's funny when I watch some YouTube videos and you say, okay, we're going to mix 1 cup of sugar, half a tablespoon of salt, and 2 cups of flour. I'm like, what's flour? It's flour, we call it. And one time I went to go and check the dictionary. I can't remember what it should be. Anyway, so the flour we are talking about is flour, F-L-O-O-R. So I want it to not go below a particular amount. Boom. And then if you drag down, you notice that's what is happening. When the person or the branch for that product has a sales that is, the bonus comes to more than 14,000, great, they get their money as it is. But then when it is less than that, the thing moves it to that minimum. So I hope we are okay with what I've said. Let me just leave the formula in your face for some seconds. As it's sunk in, I'm going to move on now. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to the next formula. So choose. I'm not going to rush this because anywhere we stop, maybe we'll do part 2. So I'm not in a hurry. I'm going to be here all year round, every Sunday. So we go to choose. Which practice file will make sense for? Let me just explain choose on a neutral, no distracting file. So choose, right? The very word choose also makes you feel like there are sets of options and you are choosing from them, right? So the way it works is, imagine I have options, and I could even give these options different names. The options and the value that comes along with that option. So I could say this is a best case option. This is a base case option. This is a worst case option. Okay, and I'm going to give them different values. So I'm going to say, okay, maybe this is relating to the money we make. So in a best case scenario, right, we make 300 million naira annual sales. But if we try to be cautious, respect reality, we come to 220,000 naira as the estimate of what we will make. But then we know that this is Nigeria. That phrase alone carries a lot of explains everything I want to say. So that says, okay, factor in the Nigerian factor, then prepare for the worst. All right, so anywhere that I want my analysis, my work to factor in ability for me to toggle between these options, a very common way is to use choose. So if you say choose, by the way, are you already thinking of the places we use this formula in financial modeling? When we talk about scenarios, you want to create different scenarios, best case scenario, base case scenario, worst case scenario, then you notice that it's almost like what I'm doing here. So we use choose. You could use some other formula too, but definitely choose works. In fact, when I was learning it for many years, it was only choose I was using. I didn't even know I could use like maybe 2 or 3 other formulas, right? So, but now I like one other formula better, which I will show us. So choose says, are you looking at my screen? What's the option that you want to pick? If I want to pick option 1, it's unfortunately that's what you have to write it as a number. So if I want to pick option 1, then what are the list of options? The list of options are best case, comma, worst case, comma, best case, comma, base case, comma, worst case. You can have as many options as you want. As you notice, the more I keep doing comma, the more this thing keeps expanding to allow me to add more options. So that's the way it works anyway. In this demonstration, we have just 3 options available for the user to pick one of. So I'm going to end it at option 3. Now, the thing is, because I have said the option number is 1, it's going to get me this. If I say the option number is 2, it's going to get me this, right? So check it out. It's giving me the 300 million. And if I say the option number is 2, voila, it gives me the base case. So what we normally do sometimes is, instead of we letting you to be typing the 1 or the 2 inside of the choose, we create a drop down. So I go to data menu, I go to data validation, and I say, you know what, I'm going to give these people the ability to choose from a list of options. And I say the list is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to say okay. And instantly, let me even do it as if this is a very serious something, and you know, I give it like a color. I tell it to be in the middle, and I tell it to be bold. Okay, so now this becomes where the person specifies the option. So I say selected option or case. Okay, so instead of me now typing 2 here, I now pick the option that you have selected here, and instantly now, if you come in here and you say, oh, option 1, boom, case 1, I want to run scenario 3. So is this clear? So this is choose. Choose is one of those formulas that makes this possible. So clear? I'm moving on to the next formula, which interestingly is I'm going to explain it using the same illustration, index. So you see what we have done with choose, right? I could have done it with index. Index can do more than that, but in this case, I can replicate the very same thing with index. So I'm going to just create some space for myself. Oh, okay, no, I don't need to. I'm going to say, I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to say we want to use index. And I'm going to knock off whatever is here. Okay, so with index, I can do the same thing. Index, right? The same pattern. What are the options? These are the options. So this one, the options come first. So these are the options. Then what option number? The option number comes after. So this option number. Don't bother looking at this that you're seeing here. Let me even drag it away because I don't want you to be distracted. Question part number 1. What are the options? The array of options. Then part number 2, the option number. So it's kind of like the parameters are flipped. In choose, we provided the option number before picking out the options. In index, I'm going to select all of the options and then now specify the option number. So it's kind of still easy anyway. I'm just trying to create a contrast. And voila, I'm going to get the same thing. So actually, this is my newest favorite. I use this now over choose, but for a long time, like for the first 4 years of my financial modeling, I was using choose like dedicatedly, religiously. And then when I started using index, I kind of liked it more. But again, it's all a preference thing. So clear? So this is it. I'm going to move on to another formula. So far, any questions? Anyway, I've been doing all of the talking. I've not even bothered to ask you any. If you have a question, any question? It's a small niche house. Like we are not many, so it gives me this feel of as if it's a class training and not an online training. So the next one is offsets. Offsets. Maybe I should use this example too for the offsets. Okay, so let's use this example also for the offset. Maybe I should just do it at the bottom here. So how does offset works? Offset allows you to say okay, good. Imagine that I blindfold you, right? You know, like I take a black cloth and I kind of make it really thick and it's long and I tie it over your eyes and I say, hey, let me look for somebody's name amongst us here. Hey, Prince, we have a surprise for you. Maybe I'm your colleague at work. So we say, hey, we have a surprise for you. But wait, don't come in. We need to blindfold you. So we blindfold you. And then we don't want to hold your hands. So what we want to do is, because maybe, I don't know, maybe we bought you a car, I don't know, whatever it is that we want you to like stumble upon and kind of feel it and try to guess what it is before we remove the blindfold. So back to offset. So what do we say? We say, okay, come one step forward, another step forward. So like 5 steps forward. Good. Can you now go 2 steps to the left, right? If you think of Excel, like I'm here, and I want to get to here, I can give instruction and say, go to, no, that would be 3. Let's count it anyway, it's very easy. This will be like 1, 2, 3. So that's obviously 3. Okay, so I will be like, you know what? Can you go 3 rows down? 3 rows down will get you here. And if where you are trying to head, for somebody who is here, who is trying to go to here, you can tell him, bros, can you move 2 columns to the right? 2 columns right, anyway. So once you understand this, then you understand offset. So let's think about it, right? We need to take your current position or your anchor position. The entire list. Okay, so Prince is saying I should show the entire list of formulas at a glance. Okay, let me go back to where the formulas are. So these are the formulas. Let me on zoom or zoom out. So we have done sum. We have done sum if, we've done min max, we've done choose, we've done index, we are here. And like I said, my goal is not to finish everything. My goal is to teach you, wherever we reach, we'll stop there, we'll do part 2 whenever I'm not able to get an external guest. So I'm like the feeding person, I'm the backup. When there's no guests, then I show up. So we're in offset anyway. So let me go back to the demonstration and Let me go back to letting you see my screen in a zoomed way. So offset, I pick the anchor position. So if I'm trying to recreate this that we have done with index choose, right? Is it not supposed to be that when the person picks 1, it goes to best case, right? So that means the anchor position will be good to be here. So that when you say 1, it means you go 1 row down. When you pick 2, go 2 rows down. When you pick 3, 3 rows down. And that will be equivalent of the scenarios that we are trying to capture. Okay, so reference, how many rows down? The number that has been selected here. Are we going to go any columns to anywhere? No, we are not going any columns to anywhere. So columns is going to be 0 step to anywhere. We are not moving to the right at all. Okay, so height is optional, width is optional. So I'm not going to worry about that for now. Let's learn this one. And voila, are you not noticing that I'm getting the very same outcome? So we are telling it, start from here, go 1 row down, rows down. Is it clear? Don't leave our column. Go 0 columns to the right, which means don't leave where we are. So clear? Clear means you've gotten it. So I'm moving on, right? So this is usually the approach we use for offsets. Let me go and see if I can do. I can fit this one in. We'll end with this year, month, and day. Okay, I can squeeze in date, year, month. Okay, I'm going to cheat. Okay, I'm going to cheat. I will shift this one because this one is more interesting to talk about than. I'm going to remove this one because I really want to talk about this one. So, date, year, month. In fact, if it's only date I even do, I'm happy. So I'm going to do an empty Excel sheet. I'm going to put some dates here. So I'm going to say, okay, subscription dates. Months paid for. So how many months subscription did you pay for? If you are the DSTV kind of person, you know, someone that your DSTV must never go, must not, subscription must not run out. But this is, I see people use this more for investment. So I buy into bonds, I buy into, you know, especially when you are doing this on behalf of people or companies, you want to know everybody when theirs is going to mature, or you are doing it in different instruments, you know, so you want to see when the one you bought last month will mature, you know, in case you want to know how to space yourself and roll over and all of that. So anyway, I'm going to call this expiry date. And remember what I said, this could also mean investment subscription. And duration in months. And maturity dates. So let me generate some fictitious dates. You bought on the 2nd of February 2021. You bought some other ones on 5th of February 2021. And let me just be faster with my Okay, so let's talk about duration. Oh, I bought a 90 days treasury stuff. That's 3 months, right? Oh, I bought a 6 months DSTV subscription. Sorry, something is going wrong with something by my door. Let me fix it. Okay. I guess I'm overthinking things. Nothing was going wrong actually. So I bought a 4-month subscription. I bought a 2-month subscription. I bought a 360 12 days. So Prince, you say when do you choose offset, index, or choose? That one is sometimes is a personal preference. So because if the three can do what you want, then since the result is what you want now, it's not like it's an exam where somebody says it's only one option to the answer. As long as the result comes out, then I will say the option is more like your preference. Which one do you like? So if you ask me, I use index more. And the reason I use index more is I just kind of like it more. That's it. So I can't really give a very scientific answer and say, okay, for sure, you always use this. But it's good you know how to use them. There are sometimes offsets is the only one that will do what you need. So that's one thing about offset. Offset has some cases where you just use it, like don't even overthink things. And but you will instantly know those situations because you find out that choose will not work. You find out that index 2 will not work. All right, so e-dates. If I want to know when my 3 months investment will mature, is it not to just take the date I subscribe to that investment and go 3 months into the future, right? So ladies and gentlemen, meet e-dates. That's your guy for what I've just explained. E-date says your start date, your investment date, your subscription date, comma, how many months into the future, right? Comma, 3 months into the future. Notice it's in months. So if your stuffs are not in months, you might want to convert them to months before you put them into this formula. So that's it too. Easy, straightforward. And we are done. Dinner is served. Let me just make it look like this. But see? And it maintains the day of the month. So sometimes, you know, some months have 28 days, some 30 days, some 31 days, and some 29 days. Anyway, it maintains all of that. So you don't have to be doing advanced mathematics to factor in how many days and blah, blah. So it can be a lifesaver anyway. So I've come to the end. It's 3 p.m. It's 1 hour exactly. So are you clear with what we have done? Is there anything I've done that you do not get? Any question before I say bye-bye before we say bye-bye to ourselves?
Yes, please. Good afternoon, Mike. Thanks so much for this refresher.
You're
Please,
welcome.
can you mix index and match quickly?
Can I mix index and match?
Yes.
Yeah. The problem is
I forgot it because I rarely use it.
Okay, the problem is the word you mentioned after the can I quick. Is that quickly that there is a problem? To be sincere, it cannot be quickly done. Except if you just want to do it. Okay, let me just try, but I bet you it cannot be quickly. So I think I have an example file. Index and match. When we use index and match, we use it in place of VLOOKUP or for the kind of things we use VLOOKUP for. So in case anybody is thinking of, okay, where will I ever need to use index and match? Or to be sincere, I can't even remember the last time I've used index and match outside of a training to use it for in my own work, because I always think VLOOKUP. And when VLOOKUP can work, Then I
So
use
VLOOKUP does the work.
Then I use
Does it mean VLOOKUP does the work, right?
VLOOKUP most time does the work.
Okay, then don't worry. I understand it. I wanted you to bring your own flavor to it so that we'll see the need to use it. If it's onerous, there's no need, my brother. Truly. I just wanted you to bring your flavor. You know, you have a way of explaining things that simplifies
Let
it.
me try, Sha. Let me just do you the honors. Let's say I
No,
squeeze.
I'm serious. I know how and when it's used. I just wanted you to your perspective. Do you get?
Okay. Thanks for
Yeah.
clarification. Okay. So I think at this juncture then we can end. And then I need to just also mention that please we are your BSS. They are the sponsors to is we. But then also that I will be alive and paid salary, because paid salary keeps me alive. So I'm paid salary and alive. So I need to also let you know that what supports this is the fact that we also do trainings. We used to do consulting, but we don't want to do consulting anymore. So trainings and products, that's what we are majoring on. So if you ever need trainings in our space, we try to be very specific. Currently, Excel, financial modeling, and Power BI. The Python and R, I don't want to talk about them because it's in conjunction with our training partner. So we're still fleshing out the stuffs about that, or if we decide to yank it off completely. But Excel, financial modeling, and Power BI, those are our core areas, and that's where we are not greedy. We want to really give our people the best in those areas, and try to excel in powerful ways around all of that. So feel free to reach out to us whenever you need trainings in that area. You can always reach out to us easily. My contacts are always easy to get. So sometimes it's a plus, sometimes it's a minus, but I'm not worried about it. It's okay if people reach me and it looks like I'm too busy and I message them back. Then I now say I'm too big for people to reach me and I go and hide my contact. So you can always email us. In fact, let me just drag all of what you see here and paste it in the. So, and give us referral too. We'll be very grateful. So thank you, and we'll see you next week. Let me just post this. We are always looking for speakers, and more importantly, we like it to be a mixture. We don't want it to look like only some people can be speakers, like you must be expert, or it's a, how do I say it? We are supposed to benefit. The benefit should not just be on our side, should not just be on the side of the person teaching. So we would like it that the benefits also accrues to you. And what do I mean? You learn better when you also teach other people, right? So how do we get the video? Yes, how do we get the video? It's not going to be there yet today, but by tomorrow, right? It will be on this. I'm going to paste the channel. So it's going to be here by tomorrow. For now, it's not there, but you can go here and check out all the other sessions you've missed. So by tomorrow, this will be, tomorrow is holiday. Sorry, by Tuesday. It might be there tomorrow, but I can't guarantee. It's only if my colleague who does it is generous enough to cut down on our own holiday to do this. But let's say Tuesday for certain anyway. So to wrap it off, I want you to also come and share anything you have known. And more importantly, the sharing is not so that you want to prove that you're a pro. The sharing is so that by you sharing it, you will know it better, right? We are not a judging audience. We are a very appreciative audience. If you even want it that you don't want plenty people in the session, we will not promote the session. So it will be very small crowd. Anyhow you want it, we can adapt it to it. But the truth is, we don't want you to think it's only people who are trainers, who are established names in this space that we are looking for when we are looking for speakers. We also look for speakers amongst us because the focus is for you to be better, right? And one way of you being better is what you are doing now, participating in these classes. Another way, a much better way, is now when you teach too. So when you share something you have learned, I bet you that thing, you won't forget it. You just won't forget it. That has been the experience for me and a lot of people. And that's why I enjoy training, no matter how training is stressful. Training, whatever I learn, becomes permanent when I teach it. And that's why sometimes people think I know a lot and they're like, how do I get to know as much as you know? Many times it's the same thing they are doing. I learn it once, but because I'm training on it, I am able to, it sticks a lot better than when you do not train and you're like, we've been learning this thing together. I know when you started Excel, I was using Excel then too, but how come you now know it more? Michael must be a genius. Michael must have it for Excel. And there's no genius about it. There's no special thing about my head about and relating to Excel. It's just those little things. I teach it a lot, and whatever I teach, I understand better. So please, end goal is message me, email me. I'm putting my email. Email me and say you want to, or WhatsApp me and say you want to teach about one thing or anything. Nothing is too trivial as long as you fill 1 hour with it. But don't go and be repeating the same thing for 1 hour. Like, just try and let it stretch to 1 hour. That's enough for us. So volunteer to speak, to present. So thank you very much. See you next week. Happy Workers' Day. Bye. The recording will be on that link. I've pasted it. So thank you. And if you're interested in Excel, let me just quickly post the link. So we'll be having Excel at exactly 4 p.m. I will still be the one teaching it. I'll be teaching about charts. So in case you think there is something you would like to know about charts, then great, join us. So bye. Thanks for joining and have a nice Sunday.